Hello everybody, Douglas Waltz, Old Man Comic Book Reviews. This is our 100th issue, 100th episode, whatever you want to call it. It's comic books, we'll call it issue. How's that sound? We had a few that we missed, so this is actually like episode 105 or 6 we figured out. So we thought we would do it here at Fanfare. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut here and then show you what the store looks like that I talk about at every episode. Back here to right now where we're going to look at comic books. And of course there was so many comic books. So first up is Amazing Spider-Man. We have Zeb Wells, I do believe, still writing it. Yep. And John Romita Jr. is our penciler. Scott Hanna is the inker. Last we left Norman Osborn, he got beat up by Hobgoblin. And Peter still thinks that he's going to be a bad guy. Then, of course, Hobgoblin shows up, and Peter has a glider now. And then there's a big twist at the end that I don't want to give away, so you'll have to read it yourself. But this has consistently been a very good book. This has now been 12 issues. It hasn't been a year of the book. I feel like they put it out more frequently. I haven't checked. Maybe there's a thing in here that'll tell me. Let me take a peek real quick. Usually the indica. No indica. All right, so we don't know. But this is a good book. If you haven't been reading a Spider-Man book lately, this would be a good one to start with. Our first annual, Moon Knight. Actually, I don't think there's any other annuals in there. Annual Homecoming. Writer is Jed MacKay. Artist is Federico Sabatini. And it's been quite a few issues, and we finally have Marlene come back. Marlene comes back to see Mark. And I like the artwork here. It's a little bit different. I don't think I'm fond of this new look for Jack Russell, where he's all hairy and a bad guy, and he's trying to get rid of the wolf curse by giving it to Marlene's daughter. So now Moon Knight has to go save her from all the werewolves, because it's a whole pack of werewolves. So it's nice. It was a whole issue instead of, like little clip stories and stuff like that. So this was a good issue, good annual. We can be happy about the return of Strange Academy. It's called Finals, first issue. Do believe it's still written by Scotty Young, still drawn by Humberto Ramos. I was right. Cool. So the kids have decided there's a big, I don't know, like a 5-page fill in the blank from what has gone previously. We've got kids that are tired of being hidden away, and so it's just nice to have the story back and all the artwork that we're used to from Umberto. Does a good job. Looks like there's going to be a little trouble in paradise though, so we'll see how that goes. Good issue. And Thunderbolts. Yay! Number 3. I did not know that it was a mini-series, or I would have waited for the trade. Jim Zub is the writer. Natho Diaz is our guest penciler. Victor Alazaba is our guest inker. Not sure why a 5-issue miniseries needs a guest anything, but they both did a really good job with their artwork. And the after a brief game of playing tag with Hawkeye using special arrows, yes, he found a boomerang arrow, and yes, he used it. The zoo is being taken over by the... there used to be a guy named the Red Ghost, and he had monkeys that had superpowers and could shapeshift and do stuff and have energy powers. So it was the team going to fight monkeys. And then a little hint that we might see Mockingbird in the next issue. I wish it was longer. Maybe they'll change their mind. I kind of doubt it, because 5 issues makes a graphic novel perfect for people who like floppies. All right, issue 31 of The New Mutants. It says superstar writer Charlie Jane Anders. I don't know who Charlie Jane Anders is, though, so big apologies there. So not, what was his name? Ava Batala or Aya Batala. All those people are gone. We have Charlie Jane Anders as our writer, and Alberto Albuquerque. Really? All right. With Rose Stein and Ted Brandt are our artists. And there's also another set of artists and writer, Carlos Lopez and Tamara Bonvillian. I'll explain that later. Not really. There's a new mutant named Escapade, where she can take your place. And if you have superpowers, she gets those too, for a short period of time. It depends. I'm not that hot on the artwork. Apparently, this gives away the ending to Acts of Judgment. The mutants saved New York City. I wasn't going to read Acts of Judgment, though that's fine. It does have these little flashbacks that look like Peanuts cartoons. There's a sprinkled throughout. It's too soon to tell what I think of this. First issue is just sort of a lead-in for everything, and the UFOs are trying to steal all of their mutant powers. I don't know. We'll see. Martha got a body, now they're trying to take it away. Some guy named Sublime. I also don't know who that is. So I don't read every X book. I read this X book. Everything else is just sort of thrown in there. So I'll write for a first try. Ultraman, The Mystery of Ultra 7. See, there's both of them. Ultraman, Ultra 7. Number 3. We have, writers are Kyle Higgins and Matt Groom. Artist is David Tinto. Last we left Chin, he jumped out of the VTOL to help Ultraman. And for some reason, because Ultra 7 can be Ultra 7 longer, now Ultraman can be longer as well. So these are nice, the Ultraman arcs. I buy every single one in the hopes that maybe they'll make a Kamen Rider one. Marvel could pick up Kamen Rider, that'd be great. So in the end, we get this great spread. Ultraman, Ultra 7, fight to the death. Well, fight to issue 4 at least. So we'll see how it goes. Ultraman's always a good time. I wish there were more photo covers. There are no DC comics this week. There are a million comics and no DC comics. Go figure. So let's bring up the issue 4 from Opus Comics, Cradle of Filth. That's right, folks. Cradle of Filth. And this one is written by Abraham Martinez and R.J. Clarena. Art is by Sebastian Cabral. It's about the King of the Woods. He's a big goat man, and his women are like, you gotta give us some action, goat man. And then a guy comes to kill goat man, and then there's a baby goat man born again. It's a whole cycle of life thing. So it's a very pretty artwork. Then there is a poem called Twilight, original poem by Danny Filth, adaptation by Denton J. Tipton, art by Joanna Lafuente. I do believe Filth is one of the members of the band. So it's very pretty pictures with a poem in it. I don't like poems. Sorry. But it's still kind of neat. I liked it. And next issue we get some lady with an apple. So I don't know if that's going to be Snow White or what, but it'll be fun. So, one shot special for Halloween. Criminal Macabre and Count Crowley, From the Pit They Come. I got it for Count Crowley. I don't know who this guy is. He fights monsters, has a zombie for a friend, and drinks heavily. Which is funny because she's an alcoholic. Stories by Steve Niles and David Dastmalchian. Art is Lucas Kettner. And Jerry Count Crowley has been sent to a convention to do some signing. The drinker fella, the criminal macabre fella, teams up with her to fight monsters. And yeah, it's kind of neat. They have to fight an underground monster that looks really, really weird, But it was a fun little Halloween book. I don't know that I would ever read it again, but it was still fun for Halloween. Bring it out and read it every Halloween. There you go. Speaking of spooky books, the Army of Darkness versus Reanimator. Not really sure why there is a happy Book of the Dead and happy Reanimator needle, but it was pretty funny. And it's at the drive-in, so there you go. Eric Burnham is the writer. Iman Casalos is the artist. Ash and Herbert have decided to go back to future Herbert to kick his butt, take the Necronomicon away from him. They do go to S-Mart. We get an S-Mart reference, which is nice. The little evil Ash, the little half Ash that was been trolling around has been there. Herbert has a new potion he's working on to get through the building where it turns people into giant blobby monsters, which he said was fair enough because he didn't know what it was going to do anyways. So next issue it says it's the final face-off. Yep, this is issue 4. It's a 5-issue arc. So we'll find out whose face gets taken off, because it's a Herbert West, Reanimator, and Army of Darkness Ash. Someone's going to lose a face. Speaking of last issues of an arc, 5 of 5, Sins of the Black Flamingo. This was a great book. Writer is Andrew Wheeler, artist is Travis Moore, and they have got to use the Devil's Tooth to save Harlow, to save the angel, to stop the bad guy, and get it all done in 22 pages. So he also he has a new costume he wears, which I thought was kind of neat. More of a pink flamingo instead of a black flamingo, so that was kind of cool. Yeah, as always, artwork's gorgeous. It does promise us that the black flamingo will return, because it says it right there. This was a good book. If you haven't read it, I would probably recommend the trade at this point. Trade should be out soon, and then that'd be the best way for you to read it. Alright, this one was kind of a jip. This is a gorgeous book. See how big that is? That beautiful cover right there. It's Godzilla, the Best of Mothra, by an artist named Biggie. I love this picture of Mothra. Unfortunately, this entire book is reprints, and I buy every Godzilla book when it comes out. So I already have all of these. There's Godzilla Gangsters and Goliath, issue 2 is in here. Godzilla Cataclysm number 3 is in here. Godzilla History's Greatest is number 6 is in here, and Godzilla Rulers of the Earth, probably the best Godzilla comic book ever made. Number 4 is in here because they all have Mothra in them. As we all know, Mothra is way cooler than most of the other kaiju, except for maybe Gigan if you want bad guys. So if you needed to have a Mothra primer, this would be it. If I'd have known it was reprint, though. Although, this is a really big book for $7, so I can't really complain too much. If I was going to complain, it would be Tom Holland's Fright Night, issue 2. The only complaint I have is this is issue 2. Last issue, issue 1, came out last December. So that's a little bit. So Dead by Dawn Part 2, written by James Kahoric. Artists are Jason Craig and our good friend Neil Vokes. They just deal with the first movie. Things change. The one girl wanders off by herself, Amy, and then the Dandridge's sister shows up, and this Ed is in it. So. And I'm kind of worried. It says based on the original novel. I didn't know there was a novel, so we'll see how that goes. In part 3 it says coming soon. I was more excited about the back cover where it said killing this Christmas. They're making a comic book out of A Silent Night, Deadly Night. I would read this forever. So maybe we'll get this one in the next 10 months. And then finally, let's wrap it up with kids. Number 54 of Sonic the Hedgehog story by Evan Stanley, arted by Evan Stanley and Natalie Haynes. When last we left them, Serge the Teneric was beating their butts. But then they taught Kitsunami, Kit the Fennec, who was her friend, to try to help them because she eats Whisper's little critters. I don't remember what they're called though. There is some place in here where it tells me what they are, what they're called, the wisps. So she uses them as a power source, so they try to overload Surge. And Robotnik is still puzzled as to why she could have done it in the first place. Dr. Starline's in it for a hot second. A, I had no idea he was a platypus. B, I still don't like it. So, and next, Surge and Kit are reunited, and it looks like Robotnik and Metal Sonic are going to be chasing after our boys, Sonic and Tails. Sonic is always a good book. I can't believe there's 54 issues of this thing already. So, but originally when it came out through Archie Comics, it went for hundreds of issues. So there's our giant stack. Fiona and Sophie. We had fun doing trunk or treat. It was drive-through trunk or treat. We didn't have to get out of the car, which didn't make much sense for costumes. But what are you gonna do? They got a bag of candy. We went to the library. That was fun. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you've watched all 100 of these, that's on you. There's a lot of material in some of these. Some of them go for a while because I get chatty. Some go quick because there's the one week we had a book. So, and as always, if you don't have a great comic book store like Fanfare to go to, you can get stuff online. You go to your local library. They mostly have graphic novels and stuff like that where you can read a comic book. So here's just hoping we'll see you in the next 100 episodes. 200 episodes. That'd be great, wouldn't it? So in the meantime, I'll see you next week. And as always, go read a comic book. Good night.